My name is April Sanchez, and as long as I'm feeling well, might as well do another one of these videos. Um, Coping mechanisms. There's this great gal on YouTube that's a therapist, and she says she's not allowed to talk about coping mechanisms for things when we're under stress. So, we've all been under stress for a couple of years now, and people's coping mechanisms have emerged. Some people watch television as a coping mechanism or like a habit or whatever. Some people, and they have constructive ones. You start learning something new. Uh, you pick up a new hobby. Um, I met somebody recently that likes to crochet. Uh, and then, for some people, coping mechanisms uh, go a little bit more personal into the feeling, right? So some people start eating, and it's a coping mechanism. It's not a sin. Which is why churches culturally they get together, right, and they share food. It's a culturally acceptable coping mechanism in exchange. So recently I gave somebody some red chili, and they're not, I don't know if they like chili or not. It's a New Mexico thing, or it's a cultural thing. People who eat peppers, um, maybe they take up coping mechanisms, ways to get out your frustration. People need to take out their frustration, anxiety, in ways hopefully that are healthy. Um, for people with complex PTSD, coping mechanisms can look really strange. Humor is a coping mechanism. Screaming in your kitchen can be cathartic and therapeutic. But it's coping mechanisms are not crazy makers, right? There are people out there who say, well, my family's just so boring. Well, what do? Well, you know what? They have their own hobbies and stuff, and they're just really boring. They're really boring. My family's really boring. And that's because they're doing their own coping mechanisms, things that work for them to pass the time, to keep their hands busy, so their brains shut off. You need your brain to shut off. You need to take a break, pull a plug, take a break. Stop that those worrying mechanisms in there. So, like when you have a husband or a significant other or something that refuses to allow you to have coping mechanisms, you're in deep trouble. Some people's coping mechanisms are really unhealthy. But if they're not infringing upon other people, it's not a sin. They're not willful. Even animals have coping mechanisms. I was told recently that beagles howl. Well, they're soulful, they're expressive, they express themselves. You can just imagine Snoopy howling. Ooh, this doesn't have to be anything wrong, really, except that he's, just doing his thing. It's funny, people confusing coping mechanisms with sin. I'm no good at these videos. So I just keep trying.